The Flux?
What's the flux?
Hello and welcome back to What the Flux episode 3, Once Upon Time. And I think the title of this podcast definitely describes this episode. What the Flux? Did it leave you fluxed when you were watching it? So yeah, I'm joined with Luke.
Hello, everyone.
So last week I said that this episode would be one of those make or break episodes. Did it break you, or are you still on board with Flux?
I'm happy to say that I am still on board with Flux at the moment. I think certainly maybe some of the cracks are starting to show, depending on how things play out going forward. But it looks like we got a bit of a fun classic style episode with Weeping Angels next week, like similar to how War of the Sontarans felt very classic while still tying into the overall arc. I feel like we're going to get some sort of like almost a palette cleanser again.
I feel like
So
the Weeping
just-
Angel one looks like the standalone of the series. I feel like I feel like that's the structure of Flux, isn't it? But you sort of have your basic sort of introduction, here's plot, here's the arc. Then sort of episode 2, you've sort of still got traditional Doctor Who. Then episode 3, you've got info dump, and then you're going back to here's Doctor Who being Doctor Who.
Yeah. But also, it seems like the Weeping Angels themselves are tied to the Flux. Like we've seen them. Did we see them last week as well? Or was it just episode 1 and 3 they've popped up?
I can't remember them being in War of Sontarans.
No. Certainly, they've had a bigger role than the Sontarans have so far.
Well, they were very much the
Wow.
main villain of this episode, weren't they?
Yeah.
I
So
would
it's like-
say.
yeah, and that was a big cliffhanger, but yeah, won't get into that just yet. Save that for
Yeah.
the ends.
Jumping
But
the gun there a bit.
this episode itself, I did have a good time with. How about you? You have had the opportunity of rewatching this. I didn't quite get around to that, and that's maybe changed your opinion slightly from initial viewing, hasn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was one of those people who came out of it going, loved it. I thought it was very Moffat TV, and I love Moffat. You know, I'm a big fan of the Moffat era. But rewatching it, I feel like it loses its sense of punch. I feel like that episode itself is very much reactionary TV. You have more of a fun time sort of watching it the first time than you do rewatching it. Like, which is odd because a lot of people have been complaining, oh, this is really confusing. This is, making the casual viewer sort of turn off the series. It's just bizarre because I feel like if this was in the Moffat era, people would be praising it and going, "Oh, this was quintessential Moffat TV, great episode." But for me, didn't quite live up to the same hype I had when I first watched it. I loved it when I first watched it. Going back to it now for a rewatch, I was not too enamored on it. Really, I still like it, still enjoy it. It's not my least favorite of Flux, but it does seem a little bit of a down from War of the Sontarans for me personally.
I feel like it's a weird idea, but like in a good way. And like you say, very Moffat-y with the way it plays with time. And I like that almost high concept of it, of them being in time, jumping about their own time streams, things being slightly different, like an echo of times gone past or times yet to come. Like we get a little tease to the catacombs with Dan.
And you get the Sontaran gun with Williamson.
Yeah. So it all seems quite intriguing as to what could be going on there. But at the same time, I didn't feel like it was difficult to follow because you're very much following it through the characters' points of view.
It's
And I love
done in sections, isn't it, really? So it's not too difficult to follow.
Yeah.
Or maybe because we've got big IQs, big brain.
Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I certainly didn't. I thought it was structured in a way that was easy enough to follow, but not simplified, if that makes sense. It didn't feel like the typical Chibnall hand holding for the most part. There was one scene where, like, when a doctor's talking to the Maury, or is it Maury or Morai?
I think Maury.
Yeah, but like she's talking to them and says, "Oh no, I'm being pulled back to the Temple of Atropos in the past." Like that was the one line that clunked a bit, and then at the end you have your as yet unborn child's line, which feels very much clunk. But yeah,
Maybe-
for the most part, it
Yeah.
did work really well for me in terms of how it's structured, and I love how the different actors are playing different characters within each other's time streams.
Do you think that was done because of COVID?
It could have been,
but I like the idea. I like it though.
Yeah, I think it's a very creative way of working around that. But you do also see like flashes of other characters pop up from time to time. So it's.
I mean, there was a lot of green screen within it.
Yeah, but I want with the other police officer in the car. Was she green screened in, or was she sat in there? Because sure, that's something like COVID wise, they'd have to be in a bubble and everything. But did they get around that with camera trickery, or was her and Amanda Gill actually sat there together?
To be honest, I couldn't really tell with the green screen. Maybe because the lighting's a lot more dark because it's at night. It can hide that multitude of a sin of the green screen.
Yeah. The 12th Doctor's new companion came back.
Yes. He has his sister, if you don't know. If you're a little bit confused for a hot second, going, what? That was a nice little surprise.
I saw a funny theory about it being what's his name? Ryan, that she's trying to impress still.
I mean, it makes sense if you're going to reintroduce Ryan to a series, you know.
Yeah. Have it be through her getting with Yaz, getting with Yaz's sister.
Yeah, and then that could be the centenary special.
Yeah. And then other than the original fam could be an actual fam then, because you know Ryan and Graham are related, and then he'll be her brother-in-law.
You've heard it all here, folks.
Yeah,
we're writing it for Chibnall. There we go.
Yeah,
we've spoilt the centenary special.
Oh, sorry, Chibnall. Don't send a weeping angel after us like you did Moffat.
Speaking of Moffat, this is a good segue. The resolution to the cliffhanger, very Moffat-y, wasn't it? Very Sherlock and wasn't Jodie Marvelous doing something very doctory? Felt very doctory, sort of mind palace-esque, very heaven sent with her trying to calculate how to get out of a situation.
Yeah. And then pointing a sonic screwdriver up at the ceiling in the style of Day of the Doctor and what is it? The other one set in the archive, Zygon Inversion. It sort of had that vibe. That's one of the things that didn't quite work for me usually in the Moffat era. It didn't quite work for me here either, just because of how quickly it goes. Just like struggling to work out quite what's happening.
I think it worked quite well because it just shows how frenetic and frantic the Doctor's mind is trying to get out of that situation.
I think it worked in the sense that I followed it perfectly fine. I knew what was going on there. But in terms of like visual, like continuity, it felt a bit messy to me.
Yeah, I don't think some of the shots lined up with what was given at the end of chapter 2.
Yeah, like how she got close to Dan, was able to grab him, but then he ends up on his own podium or something to fill the space more. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what was meant to. I like it as a concept. It's just how it was directed and executed and then conveyed through visual storytelling felt a bit messy.
Yeah, I see that, but the idea works on paper. It's just maybe the execution wasn't quite there on screen.
Speaking of execution not being there on screen, CGI Daleks.
Oh my goodness me. It's amazing, isn't it? We had everyone on Twitter was loving, that scene with like the TARDIS over sort of Bristol, Clifton suspension bridge, with like the CGI Daleks going all into TARDIS. Some of the best Dalek CGI. Cut to 3 episodes later, we have Daleks that look even more dodgy than the Time Lord Victorious CGI Daleks, which is quite an achievement.
Yeah, it really is not. I don't know why they needed so many of them either. Like, surely just one real prop there conveys the point. Like, it's just a simple patrol through an abandoned bit of woodlands.
I get why they didn't use the props, because if, a set photo did leak, or like a passerby in the woods saw, there's a Dalek, it must be Doctor Who. That could easily spread on wildfire, but I can see why they try to opt for the CGI Daleks.
They've leaked anyway from later sources.
Yeah, which...
But yeah, who knows? I don't. Like, I think you could have easily just had an like bird's eye, not bird's eye view, just like the opposite of bird's eye view, looking up from the ground and seeing some Daleks flying over the trees, like a quick flyby, and then down to Belle, like
Yeah,
hiding
that
under
would have
something.
worked. That would have worked better, probably.
Yeah, because like, if they're floating anyway, why do they have to be 2 centimeters above the ground? Why can't they just be
Yeah,
flying up?
it did seem a bit odd that they were hovering above, and then we had the weird sort of
Or,
neck rotation. Like it wasn't the dome of the Dalek.
yeah,
It was it's strange. Strange. It's like, do they not know about
mm,
how Daleks move?
yeah, or like something similar to the Extermineering scene
Mm.
from Journey's End. Yeah, it's like I get what they were going for. It is just it's a little moment. It's not worth all the fuss, but it's a bit annoying as well when it could be done better, quite
It
and has been
was
done better.
it was a nice surprise to have the Daleks in it. Whether that, I mean, I don't know if that proves that it's the Terry Nation estate. I think it goes
Oh
back to
yeah,
that. But they've got to appear in it, and obviously there's that whole speculation: is the New Year special going to be the last in the sort of the Dalek trilogy Chibnall's done? Which makes sense, and that would
mm,
be 2022. But I presume the Daleks will be in the centenary special because it's Doctor Who.
yeah, nice. I mean, Russell loves his Daleks, so he's not going to be sleeping on him for too long.
I mean, here's a question. We're getting very end. Getting, I reckon Russell's going to redesign the Daleks. So this could be one
I
of the
reckon.
last times we see the bronze Daleks,
Mm,
which is kind of
yeah,
sad to think about, actually, but long overdue in a way.
yeah. I'm not too sad about it. I'm happy to see him go at this point. Just want rid.
Oh, speaking of
Uh,
somebody who had to go, Belle. I'm trying to find a good segue there, but that kind of
yeah. I
worked.
mean, yeah, she had to go find Vinder, I guess.
Yeah, how do you find Belle? A new character introduced to the Flux saga.
She's delightful. Like, I think Fadia Graham, isn't it, the actress?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, like, she does such a marvelous job just playing the character. It's nothing too big, but again, it's that thing of with Chibnall where these characters are getting separated, they're able to shine a lot more rather than just being an entourage for the Doctor. They get to have their own moments,
Especially
and
this
so
episode.
yeah, and so for Belle, just have her own little subplot really that has not much to do with the Doctor. It gives us this wider view of the universe post Flux now that everything's been destroyed and these different alien races are fighting for the scraps. It's yeah, I think she is a great character, and I know she spoke about Vadia Graham herself spoke about getting to use her own accent, which I'm not sure if she's done before, but certainly it's not something she gets to do often. And that is one thing that the Chibnall era is always great with. Damn the American audiences and not understanding British accents.
God help them with
It
Dan.
yeah, it is very much a strength of this era. Is actors do very often get to use their native accents, and so that worked very well. And you had that sweet little ending with her and Vinder as well. So I think it's a wholesome couple. I rate it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of panic within the Who community whether the child of Vinder and Belle is the Doctor. Um,
Mm.
which I don't know how I feel about, to be honest. But isn't it all happening at current time?
Yeah, like, I don't see how it would make sense. I can see why people are thinking it. I can see Chibnall doing it, but I don't see how it would make sense.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, isn't this all sort of contemporary events right now across the? I don't know. I guess it's all across space and time. So who knows?
Yeah,
Who knows what's going on there? But I
I know.
really enjoyed Belle. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, you can see that this is sort of like the budget episode because you go back to like the Carvanista shit. It was all
Mm.
done tactfully, really. I think.
Yeah, like the idea of her stealing one because they've all gone off. That was a nice little line as well, where she's like, the Lupari have all disappeared somewhere, don't know where, but we know where as the audience. That was a nice bit of dramatic irony.
Yeah, so that's what makes you think, oh, this is sort of contemporary event, really.
Yeah,
They've
and it
all gone.
does. Yeah, it worked as a nice bit of misdirection for the trailer and stuff because I know a lot of people saw that and thought after Halloween Apocalypse, oh, the Cybermen are going to invade Earth, try and get through the Lupari shields. But no, you get something different with them in the end.
Yeah, literally, they have been reduced to cameos now, which it was nice to see them back for all but 2 minutes. Really enjoyed them.
Yeah, and I think it worked well for the messaging of love is the only mission, which get a bit on the nose, but I can't. I'm not too upset about it,
Yeah,
and
these
I think it
emotionless
works.
creatures.
Yeah, it makes sense for this character who's going all across the universe just for love to encounter the Cybermen on that mission.
Yeah, it
And
makes
then,
perfect sense.
yeah. And then there's that massive shot of them all CGI'd in the valley. That worked well.
That, yeah, it reminds me very much of like Nightmare in Silver when you've got them all sort of marching to the castle in that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But
going
better
back,
than that because
yeah,
they're not like everywhere possible awkwardly standing like it is just a group of them marching.
yeah, just going back to the CGI, just the whole sort of Lupari ship going across the universe, and we've sort of got the ravages of the Flux. Really great CGI there, and yet the
Yeah, it's
Daleks.
beautiful.
What happened there? It's just yeah, it's just Doctor in a nutshell.
Yeah, who knows? I don't maybe like that was all the space stuff was done at the same time
Maybe.
alongside like episode one and stuff. Whereas this CGI was done set. Who knows? It's hard to tell. But yeah, jumping into different time streams. Who should we tackle first? Got Dr. Yaz, Vinder, and Dan.
I feel like the Doctor's the exciting one.
Yeah. But because she's the exciting one, do we get her over with first or save her till last?
We shall save the Doctor because I've got some interesting things about the whole sort of her being in the time vortex or the time storm.
Yeah.
Yeah, this time storm. This whole series or the Flux itself seems very heavily leaning towards the McCoy era. Time storm.
Yeah,
You've
that's
got
true.
Rolling the R's, Nitro 9, possibility of Long Barrow. Chibnall's
Gosh.
been rewatching the McCoy era in lockdown, isn't
Yeah.
he?
I'm reading this. Obviously, it's Jacob Anderson. He got him onto it with his
Yeah,
love of Happiness Patrol.
Paradise Tower is one of his favorite stories. I mean, since we
Yeah.
mentioned Jacob Anderson, should we dive into Linda?
Yeah, I was just going to say one last thing.
Go on, go on.
What if the Belle and Vinder like child storyline was inspired by Delta and the Bannerman?
Oh no, we're going to end up in Shangri-La.
Oh no. But yeah, Vinder's storyline. This was a very strong one, I'd say. Like getting to
Yes.
him being forced to relive this event that he really doesn't want to, with the Grand Serpent being a massive dick.
Mm.
What?
We get the whole reason of why he's on Outpost Rose.
Yeah, and some decent CGI there on when we're at his home planet. Like you have
Yeah.
that courtyard with that rocket in. That's all quite an interesting place. I don't think it got a name, did it? His
I
planet.
mean, it probably did have a name. It probably had like a flashy caption, but I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the flashy captions were reserved for Belle's plot actually.
Yeah. Belle definitely had the flashy captions for that.
Yeah, and I guess because he's technically in a time storm and everything, he's not really there, so it doesn't work to have caption. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, he's mainly stuck with Yaz for those things, or Yaz who's not Yaz. And an interesting thought I had with the Grand Serpent, why isn't he replaced by Dan or the Doctor?
I mean, there's theories going around that the Grand Serpent could be the Master because I think we do see a little bit more of the person who plays the
Yeah,
Grand Serpent in the trailer.
This isn't the last of him.
So it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, nasty piece of work. Turning off the recording and having like an ultimatum.
Yeah, and like that whole line where he just says, "Oh, everybody wins," and he's just getting angry at Vinda for no real reason. Yeah, definitely not a pleasant character, but well acted.
Yeah, because I remember people saying, "Oh, it's the Swarm," but no, it's completely, definitely not the Swarm.
Yeah. And I like how we're building the universe out a bit more with this different civilization.
It does feel sort of very, I want to say Star Wars, sort of Mandalorian esque in a way. Don't know.
Yeah, I could see that.
So how does that feel to me in a way? Sort of expanding that sort of universe.
Hmm.
We're sort of that hopping
Yeah,
around.
yeah, definitely. Still loving Vinda. I think Jacob Anderson's doing a great job with this character. And it's nice getting back. It's nice getting backstory in a way that doesn't feel forced. We're not getting random flashbacks for no reason like we did with, say, Extremis.
Yeah.
It is naturally worked into the episode, and the characters are experiencing it with us in real time in a way because they're getting thrown around their own time streams.
Which could be their past or future, which I think is quite an interesting thing to be explored
Yeah,
within it, really.
because like even Yaz with the line about her and with her and her sister, she says something about she doesn't remember this. So could it be that she ends up back with her sister at some point? Maybe she leaves the doctor. Yeah.
But then you think, well, does that sort of ruin the element of danger for Yaz in future episodes? You're like, oh, she gets out of it alive.
Yeah. Or
Um,
could I
hmm.
mean it could just be like she stops off from time to time. Like we have
Yeah, it
seen
could
that
be that.
throughout series 11 and 12. But yeah, certainly with Dan, we get some stuff in his future. And I mean, even the scene with, I think he says like things with Diane. He's saying, this hasn't happened. I don't remember this, or things are going a bit differently here. But
Yeah.
yeah, I was definitely getting Moffat vibes specifically from the Dan stuff because it felt very similar to Silence in the Library, or more Forest of the Dead,
Yeah,
actually,
with Donna, yeah.
where where she's like jumping around. It's like we said fishing, and now we're by a lake. Like you're sort of getting that with Dan, where he's flashing through these different moments with Diane, and again, a very sweet relationship between those two building.
And having the passenger there as well, because
Yeah,
dies inside the passenger, that made it quite ominous, really.
yeah, like especially the misty scene, like on the steps and stuff. That was very nicely done.
Yeah, it's a shame we didn't
And
get a bit more of that, really.
yeah, and speaking of that, that is something that I feel like has improved. This episode has improved previous ones looking back now because we've got those answers with the passenger working out what he is. Hasn't. It felt like he came out of nowhere last week, but now we know, and now it makes sense.
Yeah, I think if you go back to
Uh,
War of the Sontarans, it'll probably have more of a sinister edge, realizing that there's like thousands of species under there, sort of a Genesis arc, if you will.
yeah, quite creepy as well. But yeah, Yaz meanwhile getting stalked by a weeping angel. Like it seems to be very specifically after her.
Yes.
Is that just because it's its way inside the TARDIS?
Um, or I've seen a theory go out online that it could be Claire, that Claire slowly becomes a weeping angel. And I think is Yaz the
Oh,
first one to greet Claire?
yeah, because certainly she recognizes them both.
Yeah, so I
Yeah,
feel like maybe that's Claire trying to get them to like 90, is it 1967, the next story?
yeah, it is.
Maybe that's why really. I don't know.
Yeah, and certainly we're getting Claire back, getting more of her, and that's something that we haven't picked up on yet since Halloween Apocalypse. So that'll be good.
I'm sure that'll be in the little previously trailer before it starts that episode.
Hmm. Yeah, I
Uh,
can imagine so.
but yeah, the Yaz scene was great with sort of the police, Jodie sort of intercepting the different time streams. Loved that. I think
Hmm.
Jodie played that comedy really well about the Satsumas, and that was great.
Yeah, she did it right there.
But yeah, the great bits of sort of Weeping Angel, sort of the video game. But I think the problem with like the Weeping Angel stuff, it felt very self-reliant on you as a person to know what the Weeping Angels are.
Yeah, although I imagine next week we'll get that info dump on the Weeping Angels,
Yeah,
and so it won't be as much of a problem then. Like it
it,
will be very much like the audience are at a loss here at the moment, but hopefully next week it'll be like, that all makes sense now.
Yeah, because it was literally don't blink, and that was it really.
Yeah,
It
it does
was
feel very. It feels very quick with the Weeping Angels as well. Like a lot of their like that build up to that cliffhanger was very bang, bang, bang credits.
but they're just used for the tension, really, aren't they? Just to build tension, like next scene.
Yeah, just hopefully it's not. They ring out the tension a bit more next week, but
I mean, it's by Maxine Alderton, and she did a wonderful job with Haunting of Villa Diodati. So I've got high hopes for that episode.
I think we do. I mean, we're skipping ahead a bit here, but we know we're getting Belle and Vinder next week still. So do you think maybe Chibnall's writing that side of the plot and then Maxine Alderton's writing the Weeping Angel side of it?
Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense. I think that makes sense. I feel, yeah, I can see Chibnall's hand being on that sort of side of the story.
Yeah, since that's the more overarching thing. But well, we'll have to see next week. But this week, I think we can now talk about the Doctor, can't we?
Yes, the main meat of the story, with the whole sort of time storm sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you make of that?
Very exciting stuff. Like it's very much expositional, but in a way, we're not just being told it, and we're working out with the Doctor what's happening. And it's like her frustration over not getting to go back once more and getting more answers. We feel that frustration too.
Yes.
And yeah, it's nice, like her almost getting it's almost like a reaction video, isn't it? But the Doctor's an immersive reaction video with the Doctor in it, experiencing her past with us that she doesn't remember. And so we get that final encounter with Swarm and Azure from before, which is quite interesting. But so we're getting more context there. It's nice that then leads into the resolution for the Doctor in the present, like her learning about the passenger and stuff. And so using that against Swarm and Azure again. But in the end, it's revealed that they predicted that. But yeah, lovely having Jo Martin back as well. Could have done with a bit more of her, like when we have that final encounter and we know it's her Doctor. It would have been nice.
What they should have done with that is as soon as Jodie sees the reflection of Jo Martin, we get full on Jo Martin then, and then Jodie becomes a detached figure in the room. So it plays out like a Jo Martin adventure.
Yeah, I feel like it worked how it was. It just needed more Jo Martin in rather than less Jodie. It's like more jumping. When it's jumping between them, it's little flashes of Jodie, not little flashes of Jo Martin.
Yeah, I'd rather have just been Jo Martin, to be honest, because we're not going to get much of Jo Martin anymore. So I'm like, yeah, we've got to make the most of it.
Yeah, and that definitely seemed like her defining moment as the Doctor, facing down her main villains, what they could be.
It just feels like such an interesting time to be exploring in sort of Doctor Who lore, because Swarm
got a reference to the Dark Times as well, didn't we?
Yeah, this is all set in the Dark Times, and I feel like this is very much the battle of the species trying to find dominance in the universe. I guess because this is the Dark Times, the Time Lords aren't fully the Lords of Time yet, and this is the battle between space and time. So this is very much sort of yin and yang, I guess, of wars, because you've got Swarm and Azure fighting for space, and the Time Lords are all about time, aren't they? Hence the name.
Yeah, I love that idea of like time and space battling against each other. Like that's all. It's very much like almost Russell T Davies-esque poetry, isn't it? Like when he's saying things like the Nightmare Child and stuff. It's like this high concept stuff that you can't quite envision, but it's just cool to hear about. And so, yeah, I really rated that. Also, nice getting Carvanista back there, even if it's just for a split second.
And old Swarm.
Yeah. And I think it made sense for Dan to be the one embodying Carvanista in that flashback of sorts.
And I guess Yaz is Gat and Vinder is Lee.
Yeah, that's the theory, isn't it? It'd be interesting to see.
Because you get a line from Vinder going, look, this is your last one and then you're free. So is this sort of this, like I think we said before we started recording, is this before Fugitive? Is it that? No, I guess if that's Gap, then it's got to be before Fugitive of June, isn't it?
Yeah, but then it's hard to work out, isn't it? And hopefully, Chibnall does have a plan with it all, and so it's not just like as messy as it seems at the moment. But I mean, I'm having faith at the moment, but I wouldn't be surprised if it does all end up being a bit messy. But yeah, I'm just enjoying the mystery, enjoying getting a bit more details on it. It's being much better handled than it was in the Timeless Children. Like it's playing into the plot a lot more. It's playing into the character. It's nice for the Doctor to have all that frustration. Like we're seeing it being taken out on Yaz and Dan a bit. We're seeing her wanting to find out more. And it's no longer that weird reaction where she's like, why would they lie when talking about the Time Lords as if that's not what they do?
Oh, damn. But it's just such an exciting thing to be exploring, really. And I think if Big Finish ever do get Joe Martin, um, the amount of creatures like Swarm and Azure, you could have so many amazing, interesting creatures to explore in the Big Finish
Yeah.
box set. So that's quite exciting.
Yeah, definitely is. There's definitely a lot of potential there. And hopefully we do get to hear that one day. But hopefully first we get to see a bit more of it in the coming weeks. Like
I hope that
I
she's at
can't
least in chapter 6. I hope.
yeah, that would make sense.
Um, yeah, because I don't think she'll be in chapter 5, Survivor of the Flux.
I feel like that's more likely than chapter 4 at least.
Yeah, because like we said, Weeping Angels does seem to be like the standalone one of the series, as you can get within an intertwined story, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose it depends like how the Weeping Angels play into it overall so far, like why they are in the time storm to begin with and such.
Speaking of a time storm, do you feel like that's going to be the start of the 13th Doctor's regeneration? Because I was half expecting sort of like parting of the ways, but she's absorbed so much of the time energy from like Dan, Vinda, Yaz to try and keep them safe that starts to break down her body and starts to begin the regeneration process.
Oh yeah, I feel like it's still too early for that at the moment.
I don't know.
Oh,
I maybe because I just enjoyed that sort of thing. I was like, oh, was this the start of 13's demise and like all the regeneration?
yeah, I feel like by the end of Flux, most of the things that happen within it will be standalone. Like, I don't think things will carry over beyond Flux
Mm.
like that. But I mean, you could be right. It didn't seem like there was any indication of that afterwards, but it wouldn't be the first time
Well, we did.
Chibnall's pulled something like that.
I think the more he said that, oh, one more trip would like kill you, and it felt very sort of third Doctor Planet of the Spiders, that sort of quest for knowledge.
Yeah,
Sort
but
of
then it
like I
seems like she
need
gets pulled
answers.
out of that anyway by a mysterious woman
I
who I
feel like
think
that
got a
was the
name in the
one trip.
credits.
I think that was the one trip she got. I think.
I don't think so because it seemed like she was actually talking to her rather than it wasn't a memory as such. It seemed like that was
Or
something
that's
in the
her
present.
future. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really hard to sort of navigate where it
yeah.
is. But what did you make of that mysterious woman? Have you got any theories? Is it Tecteun? Is it Omega
I don't.
or original character?
I feel like original character. I feel because it seems the idea is this is something from like they said. She says about the flux was a way of cleansing this universe or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, but the swarm is like a contagion to sort of. Oh yeah.
Uh, but yeah, it seems like maybe because possibly the Doctor herself comes from another universe, like when Tecteun finds the Doctor near that. What could be a time storm, actually, because that is very much the same effect, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, could it be that this is someone from the Doctor's home universe trying to go against this universe for whatever reason?
See, I got really excited because I think I mentioned it in episode 1 of What the Flux was about the Doctor falling into another universe.
Hmm.
And I was thinking, oh, is that the reason why all this is happening? Because we've got the wrong Doctors entered the wrong universe. and that's why that universe is the Flux is trying to cleanse the Doctor out of it and trying to get her back into her own right universe. I don't know.
Yeah,
It is what it is, really.
yeah. But now that I think about the time storm thing, maybe it could be more that the Doctor's just from another time within the universe. But yeah, I don't know. She's an interesting character, at least. I look forward to learning more about her. I try not to get too hung up on different theories because that's a road to disappointment.
Yeah, you'll be naturally underwhelmed. Go, why wasn't it that?
Yeah, I think, especially with Flux at the moment, I just prefer to enjoy the ride.
Yeah,
And it's been a good ride so far.
we're 50% way through. We're enjoying it. I guess we can talk about the cliffhanger and then we can wrap this up, really.
Yeah, so the Angels got the TARDIS, what I always wanted straight from Blink.
The Angels have the phone box. I really enjoyed that cliffhanger, actually. I thought it was just good old solid classic monster cliffhanger, really.
I think it worked on paper, similar to the opening for me. It worked on paper. It just felt like it maybe needed a bit longer on it to make it work.
Yeah, and Vitali seemed to be working fine.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, granted, the
but it
doors
still
are
had
still
loads of
backwards.
Yeah. Oh, speaking, I love that moment where Vinder knows what a TARDIS is. He's like, "Is this a TARDIS?" But you only heard about it in legends and stuff.
Ooh,
Yeah.
the plot thickens.
Yeah, that was a nice little moment. But yeah, Weeping Angel in the TARDIS, image of an angel becoming an angel. Like it's all there. It just felt very quick, sudden, and I feel like maybe people who don't know so much about the Weeping Angels would have been a bit shocked by that. But I imagine it'll be explained next week. I'm surely it's taking them to 1967.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting way of how they resolve that.
Yeah.
Really. Are we going to have like a scarecrow weeping angel from the trailer? Are we going to see the return of the scarecrows?
Yeah.
Was the scarecrow an Ood? I don't know.
It seems a very well shot episode from the stuff we've seen so far.
And we've got a proper 30 seconds trailer, unlike the other episodes we've had so far.
Yeah. But in that, we seem to have sacrificed the TV trailer because it's the same as that, only with different music.
We did get a mid-series trailer recently.
Oh, did we? I haven't seen that.
The day we've recorded this episode, it's gone out today, that mid-series trailer.
Oh, so I'll have to check that out after.
Yeah. Shall we rate Once Upon Time?
Yeah, let's go for it.
So what are you going to give it?
I'm going to go, yet again, 8 out of 10. I think Flux has been very consistent so far. How about you?
I'm in agreement. 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10.
Okay.
I was thinking a 9 on like initial gut reaction on a Sunday, but since rewatching it has dipped a little bit, but still very solid installment in the Flux saga.
Yeah, it's just been a lot of fun so far watching Flux. It's just
I'm enjoying the ride while it lasts because I'm sure there's going to be a curveball where we all go, "Oof, that was a bit too far." But I'm enjoying it so far. Where I'm like, "Yeah, Doctor Who's great. I'm loving it." You know, it's just nice to see positivity about Doctor Who. It's lovely.
Yeah, very much so, and it's nice ourselves being positive about Doctor Who.
Yeah, it's great because we're sort of people who we've enjoyed the Chibnall era. But not as much as others. But it's great to say that Chibnall's finally got his version of Doctor Who. It's been a work in progress, and now we're finally getting to see his vision, I guess, and seeing it all come to fruition.
Yeah, and it's funny how it's happened in like a lot of this wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for lockdown, and it's turned out for the better. It is the thing of creativity thriving in difficult circumstances.
Absolutely, especially with this. Absolutely.
But yeah. So we've got like centenary specials next year. Russell T Davies just around the corner. Big Finish relaunch about to start. Loads of animations piling out, and now Doctor Who itself on TV is enjoyable again. Like, it's a good time to be a fan.
And B&M stores whenever the figures turn up.
Sooner or later, hopefully.
Sooner or later, they'll be hitting our shelves, and we can have a little Dolly Pertwee and some more Daleks and some androids from Shock. You know, we are really spoiled and a Hartnell TARDIS. It's perfect time. What a time to be alive for a Doctor Who fan.
Well, thank you everyone for watching.
Yes, that's another installment of What the Flux. Yeah, if you've enjoyed this, then please do give it a like and subscribe for the other two remaining installments of the Flux saga. And I think for next two. Sorry, yeah, sorry. It's late in the night for us.
Three.
Gosh, we still got three to go. And we'll do a little tier list in the last one.
Yeah, give it a bit of an overview. See how it all holds up once we get all the answers.
And whether we're satisfied with the Flux saga. So yeah, that's a good place to end it for now. So we'll see you very soon, and take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.